Hello, Hojoz here, and welcome back to Forza Horizon 4, where today we'll be visiting the Baja Castle for the Autodromo De Castle Bunny with an A-Class Volkswagen Baja Bug with an anti-max slash Verstopper livery. Can't get more mad than that, I'd think. I so love this combination. I mean, of course, I put together the track with the Baja Bug, but it's just so great of a combination. I'll be driving 8 laps, and I must say the 4th lap or 5th lap is a very tasty one. I managed to hook that up very nicely. Anyway, brake light has come on, means that there's 10 seconds to go. So, we'll be setting off shortly. And there we go. First corner here, immediately the hairpin. So yeah, couldn't start off more evil than making the corner here. Having to get that checkpoint too. We'll be entering the castle via a very awkward way. Like that. Yeah, it's not the most efficient of ways. And then we'll be jumping off from the castle immediately right here. You really have to get the car straight, because otherwise you'll be backwards by the end of that jump sequence. Onto the beach then. It's a very lovely beach here. Of course it's a cross-country circuit, so you'll be expecting to drive across the beach if you have to drive across the castle here. Using the checkpoint as a braking marker, braking for the next hairpin, which by the way, managed to put more than one hairpin in. Oh boy, what a disaster. Making speed and going on to the road. Because, well, wouldn't be a Hojoz track without at least some bit of road. Going for this corner, I usually slide through it. And as you can see, I did again. Coming up then to a very evil corner. Just a little bit of braking and just drift through the entire thing. I mean, the AI, they take it without drifting, but I just drift through the entire thing because it's very fast. As you'll see later on, I'll be catching some traffic. And then braking for a 90-degree corner. Very nice apex, but at least with too much speed on the exit means that I hit the cobble fence. Going back onto the cross-country bit then here, onto the countryside. We'll be destroying the farmer's crops, which he won't be very fussed about that. Coming up then to a very crucial part. Make sure to lift right before having the jump, because it's a giant braking zone coming up here. As you can see, I underestimated it a little bit. Grabbing the checkpoint, going back onto the road, and that is pretty much a lap. As I said, it's a very cool circuit to drive. But it is also so easy to get some stuff wrong. Like with this first hairpin, I somehow managed to get my car up on its side, upon 2 wheels, or maybe even roll it, as that bit was rather awful. And I don't know why. I mean, I'll just blame it on a bump. I mean, Ricardo lost his front wing last Sunday because of a bump. And yeah, here you can see the dramatic consequences of being a slight bit sideways when jumping off at the castle section. But yeah, it's just a very difficult circuit to get right. But if you get it right, it feels so good. It's well, it's a 2-minute 15 lap. If you get it hooked up. I started with driving this track at 2-minute 30s. And after my first run, my best was 2-minute 22, I believe. After that, at 2-minute 18, which I managed to beat in the 2nd or 3rd lap already. So yeah, I wasn't really driving that great across the track. But as I said, we'll be meeting traffic. And actually we'll be finishing 9th at the end of this race with a best of 2-minute 15. And that is very surprising, because it means that I made up my 1 minute difference on the AI. This is rather surprising. As you can see, I still haven't optimized my recording setup for Forza, because I'm a very lazy bastard. No, but seriously, I couldn't really be bothered optimizing my recording setup, which was actually right, because I'm commentating this on a Wednesday, and I was making the video on Monday. I did our first run on this track. I wasn't really happy with that, and I had time for one run and a subsequent commentary. So yeah, I had to do the commentary 2 days later. It sucks. But yeah, it just shows why optimizing my recording setup for Forza would have been a very bad choice at that point. Which, by the way, I still have to do it, so in every Forza video where it's still lagging, please just remind me to optimize my recording setup, because otherwise it's never going to get done. Here, just on the exit of the jump, on the exit of the castle section, I was perfectly on my racing line, and I did that so many times on this run. I was very surprised and I was very happy, because, well, I don't usually hit my racing lines, if I have to be honest. You might be noticing some issues right at this point, because, well, I'm trying to drift through the hairpin, but very obviously, as the hairpin ends and my turn ends, I'm basically stationary. So something somewhere is going wrong, and I'm going to blame my throttle management, because throttle and brake with me, it's full on the brake or full on the throttle, nothing in between. By the way, this corner on the approach, the AI just brakes for 50 meters or something. I brake for a tiny little bit, because if I brake for a tiny little bit, I know the car gets very unstable and I can just drift it through. Here, that's just a bottle job of a corner, straight up corner cut. But hey, it's a cross-country track, so who knows what a corner cut is. I most certainly think that that wasn't a corner cut simply to defend myself, but also because this is a cross-country track. Everything in between the checkpoints, you can determine your own course. It's your course, you can just decide where to drive. That's cross-country for you. Which, by the way, the only thing about cross-country that I really like, because I don't really like cross-country, is that the car just is so out of control all the time. This buggy, this Volkswagen buggy, when it seems like I'm going straight, I'm still constantly correcting the damn thing. Probably because my throttle management is shit, but that's just a fun thing about this one, as I once again nail the entry here onto the beach. That makes a car fun to me. It's just, it's so on the edge of being out of control, but it's just in control. That is amazing. On the other end of the spectrum though, I really like my Audi TTS from the last episode, because it's so on rails. It drives like it's on rails, and that's just really refreshing. If you're constantly driving cars that are so out of control, and yet somehow you manage to keep them on the track. I mean, you use about half a dozen rewinds per lap, but sure, you keep them on the track, and that's the only thing that matters. It's the 4th lap, I think, so it's going to be my best run yet. it's as I said, it's just so lovely if you get the track hooked up and just a slight bit off the throttle there to make sure that you're not in the fencing, and just, I think this is where I just manage the drift perfectly. Just look at that. That was a perfect corner. You can't convince me otherwise. In this car, that was a perfect corner. And that was the only time that I managed to nail that one. And if you have to be honest, it was completely by mistake. I just jammed on the brake, and for some reason I managed the corner perfectly, and I was so happy with that. I was just surprised. That corner exit on the last corner, which it's just shit. I should have braked more there, or taken a different line, because that was just shit. Yeah, just look at this corner. It's just so much a perfect corner. This was my fastest lap, I think. That was just an amazing corner. It feels good if you start the lap off like that, and just nearly on the castle wall there. I have to be honest, I hit the castle wall like 10 times before getting that, but sure. Just pretend like it was not by accident. There you can again see the consequences of being a slight bit sideways or a slight bit off target of the checkpoint when you leave the castle section. Because you just get so much oversteer in this thing. If you don't manage to get the jump correct. It's just quite a disaster. Just look at the radius I'm grabbing here. I was just basically on the edge of that checkpoint. Don't think I could have done that any better. As I said, I'm finally just very positive about my driving. Because I honestly feel like I did a very good job driving this car. Especially because I managed to gain 15 seconds on this track. You don't just pull 15 seconds from nowhere. I mean, I was making mistakes all over the place. But sure, 15 seconds is what I gained. I can't help but be happy with that. That's absolute madness to me. Because, well, it just shows how much how difficult of a track this is to drive, and how much improvement you can get out of it. And out of the car, of course. The Volkswagen Baja Bug. This was the only build I intentionally made for cross-country. I intended for this to be my cross-country car, but apparently there are different classes in cross-country, so I was very mad. And that's where the Volkswagen Touareg I built, which was very shit, came from. And that's where the Land Rover Defender, which I built, which was very shit, came from. So yeah, that's pretty much explains everything. By the way, on my best lap here on the circuit, I exited the final corner with a 2:07, whereas previously I exited that corner with a 2:10, with a 2:10, 2:10. I mean, I was just so proud of myself, as this is just another representation of how not to take that jump section. I was so proud of myself. I had somehow managed to gain, in my mind at that point, somehow managed to gain 3 seconds over the entire lap. That just blew my mind. Because previously I thought a 2:17, a 2:18 was the maximum I could get out of the course. And then I just went 2-3 seconds quicker. I was just very surprised by that. Anyway, we've spent half the video talking about the car and the track. Why not spend the rest talking about the livery, which I just so like this livery. I mean, it's not public because there's a Castrol a sticker on the front, on the engine hood, and that pretty much prevents this from being published because I still have yet to trace the Castrol logo. But besides that, this car is meant as a joke. Anti-Max, of course, referring to Max Verstappen, which I don't like that guy, despite me being from the same country as him. I don't like that guy. And Anti-Max, of course, referring to the fact that he's hated by so many people. And it's a meme, so it's a meme car. Please just refer to it as a meme car. That's why the site says, "Hi Verstappen, Verstopper" here. That's where the entire idea started. I literally thought, okay, I don't care what my cross-country car is. I want it black, from standard. And I want that on the side of it. Hi Verstappen, Verstopper here. And from that, oh boy, I really made an astonishing livery. this is just a livery I wasn't very proud of. Of course, the standard Dutch flag and the HojozVideos branding on the car. Although this HojozVideos URL though couldn't fit on the bumper without being basically invisible to me, who has low-end graphics on this computer. I mean, I paid $1,000 or something for this computer. But yeah, gets outdated quickly apparently if you have NVIDIA GeForce GTX 950M. By the way, that was the first car that we passed, and I was just so glad to see traffic. And there another one. I was just so glad that I saw traffic, because it meant that I had gained 1 minute on the AI somehow. Whereas in my previous attempt, I couldn't gain on the AI at all. And here comes the best overtake I have done yet. Yeah, it's pretty much hype up. He brakes for the corner I talk about that you have to drift, and just look at it. I just not hit him. And I can't emphasize enough on how rewarding that overtake was to make. And we're in 10th now. Yeah, because we overtook 12th and 11th. 12th just made a horrible jump. Really, he was sideways and stopped at the side of the track. Ooh, that was horrible. It was a very late entry, so nice bottle job from me. But no, going back to the livery, besides that, well, it's pretty much your standard HojozVideos branding, roundels and shit. The fenders, by the way, I painted orange because those have Anti-Max logos, so plastered all over them. Which, by the way, I made it orange just to say another. Just to make it another fuck you to the Dutch Verstappen fans. I really don't like Verstappen. And well, besides that, I really like the job that I did on the bonnet, on the front end of the car, and on the barge boards, at least what I would refer to as the barge boards, I stuck another 33 with that band logo on it. Although I made the 33 way too dark, the 33 in the numbers, so I can't really see it, which is unfortunate. And we're nearly at the end of the video already. This is what happens when you really enjoy a commentary. I mean, I also enjoyed making just driving across this track, but I also really enjoyed the commentary. Which, by the way, I had very much hoped that I finished my Vodafone Alfa Romeo 8C, which was based on the Alfa Romeo Racing F1 livery of this year, as another rewarding overtake takes place. I really enjoy that, and it's actually my first time tracing logos, and I must say that's also an enjoyable experience, so I'll do it more. Besides Vodafone, I'm planning to stick a Hojoz sticker on that, as I am an avid fan of their phones. And I'll be looking to get a Total sticker, a Carrera, other brands, you know, a sticker on that, as we're approaching the final section of this track. Autodromo De Castle Bunny. Named so because it looks like a head of a bunny and takes place at a castle. I hope you enjoyed the track, I hope you enjoyed my driving, and I hope you enjoyed my video. I also hope you enjoyed the livery, the commentary, and the car. Here's Bureaucratic with Voice Support.